Welcome to the Sojourn Wealth Management Podcast. My name is Corey Akins. Today I'm joined by my partners Andrew Kraft and Jeff Bronner, and we're going to talk through our firm's process as we work with clients and how we bring in folks who would like to work with our firm. So with that, gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well as well.
I am also doing well. that's three positive wells.
Yeah, that's great. Exciting topic today. One, I think it's probably the process of how we work with folks and particularly how folks kind of engage with us for the first time is important, exciting, and we just wanted to outline kind of what we do. So with that, step one, we typically do just an intro meeting phone call. And Andrew, I'll ask you. So just give us a brief rundown of what that phone call is, why we do it, how we do it, and then, just unpack it a little bit.
Oh, we want to be respectful of people's time, and we know that our firm is not the right fit for everyone. Some people are more, do-it-yourselfers, and some may prefer to work with a different advisor with a different type of focus or whatnot. So it just makes sense to take a few minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes over the phone, kind of talk about where they are, what they would like from an advisor, and just see if it's a good fit, and we should meet and kind of dive in further.
Yeah. So kind of like get to know you kind of intro call that,
right.
You want to make sure that it's going to be valuable for you both kind of to take the next step.
But just real quick, a lot of people hesitate and wonder how advisors are compensated. And so generally we want to kind of unpack that really early so that, that's not a big lingering question.
No ambiguity there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Jeff, any thoughts on that first step? I know we've
pretty straightforward. Jump on the phone, get to know each other. The prospect gets to know us a little bit. We get to tell them about the firm. Relatively short phone call, again, respectful of time. And then if that goes well, if it sounds like a good fit, we move to step two.
Yeah. And we want that to be like, the place where you can leave and have kind of an actionable item. And then if you want to move forward into step two, that's where we have that more in-depth, what we would call a comprehensive discussion. So tell me about that, Jeff. What does that include? What does that look like from just, where are we meeting? How long are we meeting? What does that look like?
Yeah, this is going to be a much longer discussion than the initial phone call. This is where we want to really get we call it a comprehensive discussion because we want it to be comprehensive. We want to learn a lot about the folks that we're meeting with. We want to ask a lot of questions, and it's typically a pretty personal conversation too, because we're wanting to know about, hey, what's your family life like? What's your goals? What's career life been like? We're asking probing questions to get to know folks so that if we continue from there to work together, we can take, everything that they've shared with us in that discussion and utilize it to best achieve whatever goals they've outlined.
Yeah.
So it's a really in-depth conversation. You ask length. It could go 1.5 hours, 2 hours, even in some circumstances, just depending on the extent of the conversation.
It's the place where most people say, "Wow, that's a great question."
Yeah,
over and over again to us. Yeah. So you were going to say something, Andrew?
Well, just as a quick outline, we kind of want to find out, where you are, how you got there, and where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think then unpacking from there, the financial part of it is really important. The investments are really important. Rates of return are important. And we also want to make sure that we understand, your family, the important relationships, how you spend your time, free time, all that kind of stuff. So all that's part of the where you are, how you got there, and where you want to go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to understand how you view money.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So as a philosophy, so my background is different than Jeff's, and Jeff's is different than Andrew's, and so forth and so on. And so like we were all raised with different views of money, whether we consciously knew it or not. And so that's what we're kind of wanting to understand. And then from there, like we can really build a foundation. It's also the place where we outline our process in a more in-depth way with the person we're meeting with. And so like we go into detail about the next steps and kind of what we do. And so after that comprehensive discussion, we spend an hour and a half together, usually here at our office, talk with folks, what drives them, what's important, and then all the financials and particulars. Step 3, So analyze the situation and develop recommendations. Jeff, talk to me about that and kind of what that looks like from a processing point.
Yeah. So one of the things we emphasize when we're working with a new household or a new individual is that we are an ensemble firm. And what we mean by that is that we come together and we plan for our clients collectively. We want to hear everything. We want to hear different perspectives and consider, different ways in which a goal can be achieved most effectively. And so after that comprehensive discussion, we'll take all of that data that we've gathered. And typically in that conversation, maybe I should have mentioned this earlier, there's going to be 2 advisors in that step 2 comprehensive discussion meeting. Then all 3 of us are going to get together in the analysis portion later on and put all the data on the table and say, what's, best next steps for this person, or this family. And that's where we look at all of the data you mentioned, Andrew, like the investment allocation, and we look at, what are the goals? How do those align? Do we need to make adjustments there? Is there any particular investment strategy that would be more effective for them? And those kinds of things. And we just lob that back and forth and talk it through it.
Investment cost, investment analysis, retirement planning, Social Security, all of it. I mean, the whole in-depth piece of it. And so that takes a good amount of time. And so just to kind of recap, the first few steps. First is the kind of introductory call, just to kind of see if it's a good fit. Second, the comprehensive discussion. Third, analyze the situation and develop the recommendations. How long does that third step, like after we get done with the comprehensive discussion, how long does that process typically take, Andrew?
I would say maybe a week, 2-3 weeks, but we definitely want to get back to the client or as soon as we can.
Yeah.
But it takes a good bit of time for us to unpack it all.
Yeah. I would say probably multiple hours spent kind of going through the scenario and then building out the plan and making sure that it is all aligned with kind of what was being said and what was told to us that was important. I think I want to highlight something else too there. It's not just like you meet with an advisor or 2 and then like that's your point of contact. So when you work with our firm, you work with our team at that analyzation of the situation there. So I think that's important. Step 4 is the delivery and implementation. Andrew, would you please unpack that step and kind of what it is?
Yeah. So if the step 2 comprehensive discussion is more of a relaxed conversation, maybe it's in the client's living room and sitting on a couch or something. This is usually done with a screen and a whiteboard, so we can do some doodling.
Some more than others, I might add.
Yeah, I can wear out the expo marker. But basically, just based on that analysis that we as a team did, we present this really customized, client-specific financial plan. Go over different vulnerabilities, perhaps that we found in their current situation. Talk about again how we can help them and walk with them from where they are to where they want to go, whether that's, just retirement plans, or maybe it's putting a kid through college or whatever the goals are, and make sure that, hey, we've considered different risks. So whether that's living too long or maybe, getting sick or economic situations. And so we try and build into the plan flexibilities. And then also we want to try and find out from the client, what are some pinpoints perhaps that, hey, you're willing to work a year or 2 longer, save a little bit more to help make sure that we kind of get this plan on the road.
Yeah. So it sounds like the 30,000 kind of foot view of the whole plan, and then you're showing the gaps that may be in the plan, and then what are the easy kind of recommendations that would help fix some of those things. Jeff, did you have anything to add on that?
Well, nothing new to what Andrew said, but just essentially, like you had mentioned, Corey, after that analysis step, we go into the shop, we build this plan, we present it so that we can make tangible what is intangible to the client. We can show them on the screen, on the whiteboard. We can actually present to them, hey, here's what you've told us, and this is what this amounts to. Here's the things that we can do to adjust your current circumstances in order to get more closely aligned with the goals that you've articulated.
And I think also importantly, we can help take those first steps to implement the plan. We're not just going to hey, here's some ideas, go figure out how to implement it yourself.
Yeah.
But we can actually kind of help make sure we kind of get you on that road.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road, right? So like we're bringing the big view, but then okay, now we come back to the ground level, and it's like, okay, what now has to happen for us to start making progress towards these things that we've outlined. So that's step 1 through 4. What happens after that? Okay, so like we've presented the plan. We've got a great, beautiful financial plan that we're looking at. It's awesome. And we've started the implementation, and there are strategies that I, as the client now, am implementing and doing, and we're in the process of that. Is that it? What happens next?
Well, we want to get together with you and help make sure you understand the statement, or you can download. I'll say I probably don't help with this part as much. Navigate the tech side of things. So download the.
You don't say, Andrew. You don't help much with that.
The client portal on their phone, or that kind of thing. So
okay.
We call that our orientation meeting. So,
and it's kind of it's the checkpoint on the implementation. We presented the plan. Let's make sure that the plan is doing what we hoped it would do. And it's part of the reason why we don't do just upfront payment for a financial plan is we want to continue to make sure, hey, as we go, we want to make sure that these things are actually getting done and not just recommendations in a conversation that you had once that's never followed up on. So,
and I find it too that orientation meeting helps because there's a lot of information, and especially when things are changing, right? So like when you're in a meeting, and I've done this where I'm like, I don't know, like at the car place, and they're telling me all this stuff about my car, and I'm like, all right, I understand that. Yeah, that's easy. And then I go home and I try to tell my wife, and I'm like, they said something about something into something. And she's like, yeah, that's real detailed for you. Like, and so like you just kind of the information can be a lot. And so that orientation meeting helps to kind of clarify those things, probably restate some of the objectives and goals that we're implementing.
Yeah.
And create more clarity.
And it's typically a couple months after that initial planning meeting, so that we've slept a lot since then. So let's just recalibrate.
Yeah. I hope I've slept more than I've been sleeping. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of the checkpoint, like you said, Jeff, that's really helpful. And answer any other questions at that time too, right? Like checking the engine, making sure everything's okay. Step 6, the progress review meeting. Jeff, would you unpack what that is and why?
Well, in the progress review meeting, we want to spend that meeting reviewing your progress.
Well put.
After the orientation meeting, we'll make sure that everything is moving smoothly. The train's still on the tracks. And then every so often, there's going to be a station that you stop at to make sure that, hey, given what we had projected initially in the planning meeting, how close are we, or how much have we stayed on track to get to our goal? And if life has changed, the goal has changed, or we need to make any adjustments, that's what we'll do on at least an annual basis, is sit back down and just do that temperature check.
Yeah, and joking aside, I think a lot of advisors just simply do an account review. And I think, you mentioned it again, progress review meeting, it's purposefully named because we are walking with you through this life to get to a certain goal. And we want to kind of see, hey, how are we progressing toward that end objective?
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's the place where year after year, you're continuing to see like the tangible work that you've done, that the actual increase in your success. Like that's really important. I always say that like a financial plan is kind of like a rough draft. Like that first one you put together, and then each year you're kind of updating and making adjustments to, like you would if you were writing a paper, right? Like that first time you write a paper, you don't turn that in, right? You edit and update and make sure the grammar's okay. That's kind of what we're doing here with the progress review meeting. And so it's also the place where I think a lot of clients really value what we do. And so we try to make that at least once a year and really valuable for the folks.
And sometimes more often. If something happens, then we're going to make a course correction if there's a death or a divorce or a birth or something going on.
That's exactly right. At least once a year, right? And probably more. So with that, that's kind of a breakdown of our process as a firm and working with folks who would want to engage as new clients. If that process sounds something like it'd be valuable to you, please reach out. We'd love to sit down, kind of walk you through it in more detail and go from there. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sojourn Wealth Management Podcast. This is a friendly reminder that all content in this podcast is intended for educational purposes alone. Nothing in this episode should be treated as tax, legal, or investment advice. We encourage you to consult your financial professional for any of those needs. Securities offered through Kestra Investment Services, LLC, Kestra IS, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Kestra Advisory Services, LLC, Kestra AS, an affiliate of Kestra IS. Kestra IS or Kestra AS are not affiliated with Sojourn Wealth Management, LLC.